and welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. Here I am trying to put something together over here, and it isn't working. I wanted to show you some photographs a little later on the show, but I don't think I'm going to have time because I got a guest here today. He's a friend for decades, and I haven't seen him in a while. And in fact, he was recently on a cruise ship. He worked a cruise ship. You'll know him. He's an attorney in Rhode Island for decades, but he's much more than an attorney. In fact, he was made famous by a video he did, a rap video years ago. It's something. What is it? Something about. Let me introduce you first. Terry, how you doing?
Good, Bob. How you doing, brother?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you
What's
too,
the name of the video?
The video was called Chooch to Gooch, the 10 Steps of Disco Dancing.
Chooch to Gooch. Having known you and then seeing the video, it was so hilarious to me to see that video.
Thank you.
That video was so well done.
I appreciate that, Bob.
What kind of car was that? You were in the convertible.
It was a 76 Eldorado.
It was a Caddy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, I said it was
Belonging to our friend Steve Ucci, former senator in Rhode Island.
Yep.
That was Steve's car, and we borrowed it for the video because I thought it was appropriate for the 10 Steps of Disco Dancing and the whole Sparkone character.
Now, who was in the car with you?
Guido Fettuccini, my late friend and
Guido Fettuccini.
Ben Masidi was the driver, big guy who was a tremendous performer. He was the producer of the song. So Guido Fettuccini. I was in the front seat. In the back seat in the brown suit was Tommy Salami. And
Tommy Salami.
Yep, and Tony Provolone was the tall gentleman.
Now, who comes up with all these names? Who came? Or they come up with their own, or did you give them the names?
It was a collaboration, but I assigned a lot of the names of the.
Because your real name is Terry McEnaney, right?
McEnaney, yes.
McEnaney.
Yes.
But you went by
Bobby Braciolà.
Bobby Braciolà. So what'd you say? Everybody did their own name, or you gave?
Yeah, it was a kind of a collab when we were in the studio of, when Tommy came on board. Like, hey, that sounded really good. Tommy Salami's in the house, and it just stuck. So it was Tony Provolone, Tommy Salami, Guido Fettuccini, and Bobby Braciolà. But we also had my DJ, the Imperial Scratch Wizard, and Howard Jones, and General Jam, the Rap Maniac, and Lyrical Lord Beatmaster. We had a lot of different names, but the main gweeds in the car were Tommy Salami, Tony Provolone, Bobby
I'm telling you, every
Braciolà,
time I saw that
Fettuccini.
thing, I laughed like heck.
Thanks, Bob.
I really laughed.
Thank you
And it was well done. And you sounded good, too.
It took 16 months to complete. David Betancourt, who did the Rocky Point movie, was the director of the, and it took 16 months to produce. So we put a lot of time in it. My wife was background singer, as well as Erica Van Pelt, who was a top 10 finalist on American Idol.
Well, she was on the show.
I'm sure she was. And our friend Katie Manchester, she was one of the background singers. It was a collab. It wasn't just me. I was I wrote and was the lead vocalist, but it's a collab of many people.
The rap. How much practicing went into that before you actually put it together?
Wow. I'd say probably 3 months, and then really? About 16 months to produce it, because we started shooting in November, but there was a beach scene, so we had to wait till the weather got warm, and then post-production. So by the start to finish was 16 months.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
Well, that's a testament. That's why it was so good, because it took so long to put together.
That's right. I mean, we all had other occupations.
Other jobs,
so we'd shoot on Tuesday night, and then we'd edit either the following Tuesday or on the weekends, and it took a while to shoot it, but we were very happy with the final product. And I mean, it did really well. It got me signed to a label. I got originally signed by Big Fish Media, which got bought by Sony Music. So now I'm a Sony Music artist because of Chooch to Gooch.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow. Well, and as we talked about off camera, you got so many hits on that. What were you, like the top one during that Christmas? Or one of the top?
Well, Chooch to Gooch has done about 240,000 views and 100,000 plus downloads. And it also helped my other songs. I had I'm a Sparkone, which is when I first came on your show.
Correct.
I had a song called I'm a Sparkone, which was my first one. Then we did Everyone's Italian on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve, yes.
And,
well, you did that at my Toys for Tots.
A couple of times. They showed up at the mall to perform
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And so actually the hits on Everyone's Italian on Christmas Eve definitely were boosted by Chooch to Gooch. And in fact, when I got signed to the Orchard and Sony, they picked up both of those songs. So it's Chooch to Gooch Everyone's Italian on Christmas Eve, and I'm a Spaccone. So technically, I'm a 3-hit wonder, not a 1-hit wonder. I had 3 legitimate hits, so that was good. And Chooch to Gooch definitely drove the bus. The thing you're talking about is I did an appearance of my Christmas song live. It was kind of a setup with the Honorable Judge Caprio, who I love and a dear friend of mine, and I performed in his courtroom, and one of the guys sitting in the courtroom was waiting to see the judge, and I guess he had like a speeding ticket that was 70 miles over the speed limit. So he wrote, and I'm doing my song, and everybody's laughing. It's jovial. It's Christmas time,
and he's
not happy. This guy tweets out, "This lawyer is rapping, and I'm going to jail." He drops it on Twitter, which is now X, and it started moving and percolating. And then we got picked up on this other show, and then my son calls me and says, "Dad, you're trending on Twitter." And I was like, "What does that mean?"
Right.
He goes, "You have one of the hottest tweets in the world."
Exactly, that's what I was
thinking
about.
In 6 days, we got 4.1 million views and hits on Twitter, which was absolutely amazing. And that really helped to launch the promotion of the song. So
wow, that's
pretty
unbelievable.
exciting. Yeah, 4.1 million views. And then it stopped. It was just went crazy for 6 days, and then stopped, and it's still at 4.1 million, and it trickles in, but it was a really exciting time.
Well, and what year was that?
Oh wow. Well, it was before Twitter was X.
Right. Yeah, but that's only the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably 6 years ago.
So it was before COVID then.
It was. Oh yeah, it was definitely before COVID. I would say it was around 2018 or 19.
18?
Yeah. And it was still one of the most popular Court in Providence shows with Judge Caprio show. And the fact that it blew up like that on Twitter was really exciting.
Yeah, I miss his show. We used to joke all the time. In fact, he always paid me the compliment. He says, they claim I'm one of the top shows. He said, but you are the top show. That's what he always used to say that to me.
Well, I mean, Bob, you set the standard, for local television. I mean, with local access. And most of the time, when you saw TV and local access, it was just, schedules and calendars and things like that. Then all of a sudden, boom, you popped on with your talk show. And it was like a true variety show. It went from entertainers to local businesses, politicians, the Toys for Tots, and you really carved a name for yourself. So I was really proud to do your show back in the day. I think you kind of were a trendsetter for local television.
Well, it's nice you say that.
And in honor of that, I want to present you with an official Bobby Braciole "How You Been" sweatshirt. Picture of me on the back.
Explain the spelling or the wording.
How you been? Well, I mean, that's one of our salutations as paisans from Rhode Island. Hey, Nicky, how you been? Hey, Tony, how you been? Tony Provolone, how you been? So that was, we thought that would be funny to put on the sweatshirt, and I wanted you to have it.
Thank you very much. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
And also in Chooch to Gooch, when we're getting the crowd riled up at the end at PPAC, and I might, if you're ready to party, let me hear you say again, party people in the house, say, how you been? Instead of like somebody screaming like, how you been? How you been? How you been? And so it kind of worked with the promotion of the gear and merchandise.
Now you grew up where? Cranston?
Yes. Weston Cranston.
Weston Cranston.
Yep, went to Cranston
From a real
West.
Italian family, I guess.
Well, my last name's McEnaney,
Yeah, I
so
know.
my dad was Irish, English,
too.
and we had Native American
Come
roots.
on, I'm Irish, English, and Italian. My father was all Italian.
There was a mixed
You're the
marriage.
opposite.
My dad married my mother, who's Italian on both sides.
Right.
So I was raised as a paisan. My dad's family was in Connecticut. My mom's family was here. Her mother was one of 9. They're the Melfi family. In fact,
Right.
we're related to David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos.
Oh,
so
no
we had
kidding.
Dr. Melfi in the show because that was a
Yeah.
tribute to his roots of my family, the Melfis here in Rhode Island.
Wow.
So my mother was a Kilo and Melfi. So I was raised as an Italian, but my dad was Irish. My last name was Irish. So I always had some explaining to do in court. I remember one time I was on the phone with Judge Sheehan, God rest his soul, and he was talking to me, Terry McEnaney, I haven't met you before. And then I went in front of him, state your name for the record, Terry McEnaney, on behalf of the defendant. Mr. McEnaney, can you approach? And I approached the bench, he says, you are the most Italian-looking Irishman I've ever seen in my life.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know if that took me down a couple of points with Judge Sheehan.
Well, you know what? He was probably the same thing. His mother was probably Italian. Sheehan, right?
Yeah. Well, I know
that's
like
an Irish name.
Judge McBurney's half Italian,
Right,
so
right.
so he gets the character, and I've performed a lot in court. I once did a rap when Judge Pederzani retired. His last day, I did a whole plea in rap
In
form.
court.
So the court reporter got it down, and this past year, Judge Rika Sloan's Sheriff Marty and her other sheriff Jimmy were retiring, and they had a celebration during lunchtime, and I wrote a quick rap about them and their 43 combined years as sheriffs, and the judge dug it so much, he said, "Terry, can you go up on the bench and do it?" And I was like, wow.
Wow.
So I went up on the judge's bench,
Wow.
which I thought was really nice of her to do, and I did the rap on camera for them so she could see it, and I was telling the defense lawyers, I'm signing some 48As while I'm up here, which are dismissals. Like, well, I'm sitting here in the judge's capacity, let me sign a couple of case dismissals for you guys. But that was pretty cool to be able to perform Bobby Brajol in court. So a couple of times I've been able to merge my legal career and my rap personality in the courthouse.
Wow, that is cool. That is cool.
Thanks.
How long you been a lawyer?
Way too long, Rob.
Really?
Let's see. October 10th will be 39 years.
Come on.
Yep, 39 years.
Wow, I would have
Yeah.
never thought that long.
Not a day goes by when I don't say to one of my clients, damn, I should have gone to med school. But yeah, 39 years as a member of the Rhode Island Bar.
And what do you practice mostly?
Well, I have my own office. We do everything, family court, bankruptcy, but I just do criminal defense. I always say drugs and guns.
Right, drugs and guns.
Yeah, I do criminal defense,
Right.
mostly superior court felonies, some district court, domestic DUIs, and I have an associate, Rob McNeilis, and he does a lot of the family court stuff. But I have a pretty good network of attorneys that I can pretty much handle anything.
Right.
But I stay in my lane, and mine's pretty much criminal defense.
So it's you and one other lawyer in your
Actually,
office?
there's two. There's Ryan and Robert, the twins, both, very intelligent guys, and they handle, Rob does some criminal too, but they handle different types of the law, and I
Right,
pretty much.
probate and all that kind of stuff?
Yep, Ryan does probate. So yeah, we try to do everything, and if I don't have someone in my office, I can do it.
You got, like you
I have
said, you
people,
got a network.
Dominic Kacheri for workers' comp. I
Right.
send out personal injury cases sometimes to Tommy Badway, Joe Vacola, some of my other associates that I've had in the
Badway's in
past.
Pawtucket, right? Or just over the line?
Right on the Pawtucket
Right on the
Providence line. Yeah, he also owns Dean Auto Body, so
right,
sometimes
that's why
if
I
there's
know.
an accident case that has injuries and the car damage, I just give it to Tommy. So a lot of practicing is knowing who to refer it to and knowing when you're going to refer it to someone, it's someone who can really handle the job
Well, you
well.
sound like 100% Italian now. You know all the people to contact.
Yeah, I got a guy. I got a guy.
I got this one. I got this guy.
I do. I mean, I try to have a guy for whatever type of law is required. I think pretty much everything but maritime law we've done, everything from immigration to probate, family court, district court, superior court. Like I said, I stay in my lane. I stick with drugs and guns and criminal defense. Yep.
I used to have a lawyer when I had my restaurant decades ago, Venturini's restaurant. And it was ironic. It was an Italian restaurant.
Where was that?
In Pawtucket, right on the Pawtucket Providence line.
Relative?
Me and my brother and sister.
Oh, wow.
Back in the 80s. And yeah, we used to concentrate on Italian food. And it happened more than once, actually. Some woman came in one night, she said, I got to tell you, see, that's a beautiful name. She said, how'd you come up with that name?
Venturini. I know, it is a cool name.
I said, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. I said, I think it was my great-great-grandfather that did that. And then she
What part of Italy is the Venturini?
Northwestern Italy.
Oh, an aristocrat.
There, yeah. You know, I've never been there.
Never been to Italy?
No.
Oh, Bob.
Twice I've gotten shafted out of it. Twice. Things came up that's.
See, I have a blessing. My wife was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years with my son TJ, and after 17 years, all of a sudden TJ didn't need rides anymore.
Yep,
He wasn't relying
yep.
on mom so much. So she's like, I need to do something. So I reached out to my friend Steve Gelfuso, who owns Cruz Brothers.
Of course.
And who used to be on Boyd Avenue. I believe they used to be in East Providence, in this area. He hired my wife, and now she's a team leader. So I get to to go on vacations a lot. In fact, the cruise you talked about, my wife lined that up. That was on the river cruise 2 weeks ago.
Well, we'll get to
3
that.
weeks
We'll
ago.
get to that in a minute. Go ahead.
But, you know, because of the Cruise Brothers, I got to travel. I've been to Italy 3 times. My wife's been 4
Really?
times. We just went to Amalfi Coast. And I hadn't gone until I was, in fact, Chooch to Gooch. I always release my songs on St. Joseph's Day. I released...
Which is Italian Day for people that don't know.
Oh, yes. St. Joseph's Day is like the St. Patrick's Day for Italians.
Exactly.
It's on the 19th, 2 days after St. Joseph, after St. Patrick's. So I released Chooch to Gooch on March 19th, 2010, and we were in Italy when it got released, and that was really exciting for me. That was my first time, and now I've been there several times since and got to see the Amalfi Coast. We went down to Naples, where my family's from.
Yep.
And you know, I've been to Rome and Florence, and so that's been a real blessing to get to go to Italy and see that. And I went to Greece, and most recently we went to Amsterdam and Brussels. Which is,
Now, as far as Italy, which place do you like the best?
you know, that's hard to say, but the Amalfi Coast is so
Now,
breathtaking.
the Amalfi Coast is on the east coast, is it? Is it not?
Yeah, and it's south. Obviously, it's
Southeast.
I mean,
though, I think.
Rome is wonderful, but Rome is
Too touristy.
it's touristy. It's very dusty, and they keep the artifacts and the sites beautiful, but then outside of the sites, there's a lot of graffiti and things like that. And in Rome, no building can be taller than the Vatican. So no building's more than 5 stories high.
Right.
So you pull into Rome, it looks like Central Falls. No offense to Central Falls, but I mean, as a joke, that's what I say, because nothing's taller than 5 stories.
Right.
So it doesn't have the skyline like you'll have in Naples or Milan.
Right.
But I mean, I loved Florence. It was absolutely beautiful. But the Amalfi Coast is so breathtaking. Sorrento, I mean, if I had to retire somewhere, I'd probably want to, like my nephew Michael says, my nephew Jack wants to own an olive farm when he grows up. I would want to have an olive farm in Sorrento. And Sorrento's up like 1,800 feet. Then you go to Positano, and it's up like 2,700 feet. And then you go to Amalfi, and it's 4,100 feet.
Wow.
And you can look down 4,000 feet, and these beautiful neighborhoods and houses, all different colors, and restaurants built right into the side of the mountain. It's absolutely breathtaking.
Now,
So
I'm
that's my
trying
favorite.
to catch is it still in Italy proper, or is it's not in Sicily? It's in Italy.
No, it's Italy proper, but it's
Near the
definitely on
boot.
the coast. And yep,
At
it's
the bottom of the boot, the heel?
Yeah, I think it's between the heel and the toe of the boot. I'm not positive about that, but
It's in southern Italy.
it's almost as far south as you can go in mainland Italy, and it was
Right.
absolutely breathtaking. I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, 'cause
I mean,
I've heard
obviously,
that
if you have
before.
roots in northern Italy, you want to go to where your family's from and see that. But if someone wants to just go to Italy, I would definitely recommend the Amalfi Coast. But the cruises to Italy are great.
Well, that's what I want to do. I want to do, first time I go to Italy, and I'm hoping that I can do this in the fall.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it this spring, but because of the knee replacement, I put it off. But I'm hoping to.
You should get a scooter, because there is a
scooter?
lot of walking.
Yep.
But if you do like a cruise, when we did the cruise, Cruise Brothers hooked us up with this cruise. A lot of them go out of Barcelona, Spain.
Right.
In Barcelona, you should do a pre-stay. It's a great city, a lot of flavor. And then it goes from Barcelona to
Nice,
like
France?
Monte Carlo. Then it does Florence or Pisa, Venice, Venezia, Rome, Naples, and then like Palma de Mallorca, Spain. So you could get a good flavor
Right.
of Italy with a
Right.
cruise. And you can see Rome in a day. You're going to be moving and grooving to try to get to the Colosseum and to the Vatican and everything. But you get there at 9 in the morning. By 6 o'clock, you could do it. So you could do an Italian European cruise and get a good taste of Italy in like 8
right.
days.
Well, trying to get the right person to go with is another problem. Yeah, I want to make sure I get the right person to go with.
Oh, absolutely, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I'm
Because
very
I'd be
proud
looking
of-
at like a 10 to 12 day cruise, leaving out of Barcelona.
Yep.
7 days is not enough to.
Well, I
you
mean,
can do it in 7.
You
but-
can do, but you're going to be moving, like in Barcelona, then Monte Carlo, then you do Florence in one day, Naples in one day, and
Right.
Rome, and But if you have a week or 10 days to see it, you can get a pretty good flavor of Italy in a matter of a week.
And the other reason I like the idea of the cruise is because, then, like you said, you get a flavor of it. And then if I want to go back to Italy, then I know, I got an idea of the part I want to go see.
Yep. People are so nice. Like they actually, I have trouble sometimes getting like local places to play my song. We're in Florence, Italy, and this waiter came over, this John Luca, great guy, telling us what to order and everything. And then I told him after dinner, after lunch, about Bobby Braciola.
Right.
He goes in the back, goes to Spotify, because I mean, you can like I used to have to bring my CD for people to play it. Now you go on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and pull my song. So we went back, pulls up Chooch to Gooch on Spotify. Next thing you know, the waiters come out clapping. I'm in Florence, Italy, and the waiters are dancing to my song.
I
was like, I couldn't get a place in Cranston to play my song. I'm in Florence, Italy, and the waiters are doing the Chooch to Gooch dance.
I've had that same experience in Morocco, the same, Bob's Big Adventure. You know, you go on YouTube, you can see it on YouTube. And I show it to them on YouTube. Yeah, I've been to Morocco, I've done it in Russia, different places.
Casablanca.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was in Rabat, Morocco. We landed in Rabat, Morocco, and I said, I got to go to Casablanca. I want to see Christina's where the movie Casablanca was supposedly filmed. Where supposedly he said, "Play it again, Sam." Right.
Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart said, "Play it again, Sam." So I wanted to go there. So the guys I went there, they didn't want to do nothing. I said, "What the hell are you on a trip for? Just to sit around in a hotel at a bar room?"
Yeah, you could do that in Boston.
So, yeah, exactly. So I took a bus, 5.5-hour ride to get to Casablanca.
Wow.
I get off the bus. I'm walking down the street. It's a bustling city. There's people everywhere, and everybody's driving scooters and the cars are all small cars, but they're running right along, 2 lanes each side, and a median in the middle. And I'm walking on the median, and all of a sudden, everything stops. Everybody's on the ground. I'm looking around. I thought it was the end of the world. I am the only person standing. It was their time to pray. They all dropped.
Wow.
I never seen anything like it in my life. Anybody on a bike, they stopped, they laid the bike down, and they all laid down on the ground with their little rugs, and they're all doing their praying. I'm literally the only person standing. First of all, it shocked me. At first, I thought they all got
bomb
killed.
was going off.
Yeah.
Dodging shrapnel or something, right?
It was the weirdest thing. But anyway, I'm going around looking for Christopher's, and I'm asking around. They said, "Oh, they tore that down. They tore it down."
Wow. So you went to Morocco, but haven't been to Italy. Yeah, you need to look. Give me a call. I know a guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know who my buddy is too. You say the cruise brothers. You say Steven.
Steven and Russ.
And Russell's a good friend of mine.
Great comedian.
Oh, he is.
If you haven't seen Russ Gelfuso stand up, because I'm also affiliated with the John Parada's Comedy Factory.
John's a great guy.
And Russ is also one of the comedians there. But John Parada, who's the Italian Don Rickles, super talented, brilliant crowd comedian.
I saw him 2 weeks ago.
He says, I don't have an act. He just goes in and just...
He works the crowd.
Hey, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
my God.
Hey,
I hate to be in the front of the room.
How'd you wake up with a 300-pound diabetic?
It's
like, look what I'm playing now. I'm at this joint. Tuesday, I'll be at the Close Ponderosa on Route 2. Like, just really funny. And Rockin' Joe Hebert and the whole crew of comedians at the Comedy Factory. I'm very proud to be part of them. And because of them, I got inducted into the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame, which I brought this to show you.
Yes.
This was one of the most talented guys I know, obviously. You know him well. You've had him on the show, Charlie Hall.
Yep, Charlie.
Not only a great comedian,
but an artist, a great artist.
He and Doreen Collins. Doreen Collins, who's brilliant. They have Aging Disgracefully, the show they do about being in Rhode Island. Charlie also does all the characters
in the court
for the court and for the inductees of the Comedy Hall of Fame.
Right.
And he did this drawing of me, which was this is the painting.
Oh, put it over there. Hold it over.
Oh, this is the drawing for the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame, and we all have one. And I was very proud to be inducted. In fact, Doreen Collins acted like during the induction ceremony. They take it pretty seriously, but it's also for comedy.
Right.
So everybody's joking. All of a sudden, someone starts screaming, "He's not worthy of this. I went to jail for 20 years because of this guy." Doreen Collins impromptu came out as like a female inmate who had just
Oh, no.
gotten out of jail and was objecting to my induction because I sold her out it was all a big put on.
Oh, right,
but
right.
people in the audience,
They thought it was
I
true.
knew it was Doreen, so I thought it was hysterical. But everybody else was like, "What the heck is going on here? Oh my God!" And she totally staged it, and then they carried her out of the
Now,
building.
did you know what was happening?
They know that they didn't tell me.
They didn't tell you,
but
but
I
you
knew
knew her.
when I saw it was Doreen, I'm like, this is awesome. But everybody else, my mother and friends of mine and people in the audience were
Oh, my
shocked
God.
because it was so realistic. She had like a tattoo shirt on, so she was all tatted up. She had like a bandana, a scar on her face, and she's coming. He's not worthy of induction. I did 20 years because of this. Blah, 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 blah. And they picked her up and they took her out the door, and then I went out there and I make them believe that I'm throwing punches. It was really hysterical.
Oh, my
and I
God.
was so happy because to get pranked like that
Yeah.
at a celebration where I was kind of puffed up. I was getting inducted into the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame, and have this woman portraying one of my clients who's
Yep.
not happy, which is, I try to make my clients as happy as possible, but you never know.
Exactly.
And people in the audience were just shocked. It was such a great setup.
Oh,
Charlie
my
Hall
God.
and Doreen.
And the payoff is
and
you
Johnny
didn't know
Parada
it.
and
You
Joe
didn't know
Hebert
it
set up.
until you saw her. You didn't know it.
Oh yeah, they totally broadsided me during the induction, but it was really cool. I mean, perfect comedy.
That was well
totally
planned.
impromptu, really well planned, and
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere. So that was cool. And I mean, to be a part of the Comedy Hall of Fame with
Sure.
John Parada, the great Ruth Buzzy, Tom Carter, Ace Aceto,
Ace has been on my
Frank
show.
O'Donnell.
Yep.
Joe Hebert, who was the creator of the Comedy Hall of Fame.
He won't
Dana
do TV. He
Nathanson.
won't do my show. I ran into him again 2 weeks
Who,
ago.
Rockin' Joe Hebert?
Yeah. He does not. He says, I don't do TV, he says.
He's a great comedian.
He is.
I'll
saw him.
talk to Joe.
Yeah,
because
please
he
do.
would come here and do a song about you right impromptu
Really?
that would bring the house down.
Yeah.
Joe's a super talented guy. So being part of the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame and John Parada's Comedy Factory has been a great boost. He gets me shows every year and Christmas shows, and can be an agent for me from time to time.
Right, yeah,
So,
yeah. He does a lot. My God, he's done 2 or 3 shows a day sometimes.
Parada? Oh, he's prolific.
He
And
works like
never
a
lets-
madman.
I mean, if anybody's had a chance to see John in concert, to see one of John's shows, he's worth the price of admission. And he also has a crew of comedians that go with him.
Right, right.
The shows are always great, and I'm proud to be part
Well,
of
he just
it.
did one at a Chinese restaurant in Warwick.
Lemongrass.
Lemongrass,
Yeah,
yeah.
he does lemon. I mean, he's
And the
got
food's good,
He's
too.
got 10 or 15 venues that book him on the regular, and
Right.
I would strongly suggest someone to check out one of the John Parada Comedy Factory shows. There, it won't let you down. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the, Ace Aceto, just a great.
Well, he
array
has,
of
like you said, he has a
Bill
list of them.
Simus, Mike Murray, the deaf comedian, and they do
Right.
the fun,
Oh, he's hilarious.
funny for funds. And,
He's hilarious. That
yeah, I mean,
that deaf comedian.
we have a lot
and
of
he
talented
really
guys
is a
in
deaf
Rhode Island.
comedian.
He is. Yep. He's tremendous. So I mean, we've had and we have a friend Dan O'Brien who was doing a documentary called Waves of Laughter, and all of us are in it. It's going to be out sometime in the next year, and it's really funny, and it's about the Rhode Island comedy scene, and also just what it's like to try to make it as a professional comedian.
Right, right.
It's called Waves of Laughter, and that'll be out sometime in the next year.
Well, you see some of these comedians that have made it, and sometimes it's taken them 10, 15 years to make it. Right?
I tell people, I did I'm a Spacone in 1989. I didn't get signed to Sony and to the Orchard and Big Fish Media, which originally got me signed, but Sony in 2010. So they call me an overnight success. Well, it was, for me, overnight took 21 years. So yeah, it takes time to develop your act, develop a following, and obviously, you got to have the luck. And like I say, luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. So you got to be prepared.
right.
You got to have the opportunity. You got to be ready to seize it when it happens.
Did you see when Jay Leno was in Rhode Island? I went to that event that they had.
My wife was at that event.
In fact, you're sitting in the set.
She said he was hilarious.
You're sitting in the set.
Oh,
this is the
nice.
set from that night.
Oh,
when
that's great.
Joe Rocco interviewed him.
Joe Rocco, another great dude. Shout out to Joe Rocco. Love you, paisano.
Joe Rocco interviewed him, and after it was done, and Leno left, they had, well, actually, he didn't leave. He went upstairs. And
It was in Newport, right?
No, this was in Providence.
Oh, okay.
After it was over, they auctioned off the set, and I was in the crowd, and I bid on it, and then somebody bid over me, and another person bid over them, and I went charging down to the stage, and I go, Joe, and I raised the bid, and I said, by the way, who do you think should have this set? And he said it to the crowd. He goes, this belongs with Bob, like that.
Wow, I'm very honored to be here. Wow, this is great, huh?
Yeah. Even the rug, the table came with it.
Jay's a complete pro. I met Jay backstage at the Tonight Show several years ago. A friend of mine, Linda Gross, who worked for NBC, got us in the green room backstage, and the Blind Boys of Alabama, who my sister Cheryl works with, they were performing that night. Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson were promoting that movie they were doing. And so I got to, I was in the green room, and then we met Jay after the show, and he saw that we were traveling with an 18-month-old at the time.
Yep.
And he was like, I remember traveling with my son. And when he found out we were from New England, because he's from like Canton or Norwood, Mass.
Andover.
So yeah, Andover. I mean, he was so cordial and so nice, and yeah, I thought Jay was great. I mean, that's one thing about being in the entertainment industry. I've had unbelievable opportunities. I mean, I've met, got to hang out with Will Smith, who I love dearly, great guy, but Elton John I met, Stevie Wonder, Billy Joel, Marissa Tomei.
Wow.
A-list celebrities who have just been so nice and so gracious. And,
Yep.
Sometimes the managers can be jerks, but the entertainers themselves, I'm proud to be in the community because, I mean, you couldn't meet a nicer guy than Will Smith. I know he went through his stuff with
What'd you think of that, by the way?
I was heartbroken. I mean, all right, Chris, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. That could have been done when the cameras broke backstage to go up and slap him on.
But you know something?
And if it broke my heart because I love Will Smith.
Exactly.
He's
but he doesn't have a very good punch or even a good slap because he didn't even move him.
And Chris is not that big
either.
Yeah, that was
you would think
heartbreaking
this guy played Muhammad Ali. You figure.
That's true.
When he whacked him,
and
I thought it was a setup.
He was a superhero.
Yeah. I thought this guy's a powerful guy.
And Will's a big dude.
Yeah.
But I got to say it. I mean, personally, I judge people by the way I met them.
Right.
And he was great to me. Elton John, people have said he's not that approachable. Super nice to me. Marissa Tomei was really nice. Stevie Wonder, I was joking around with him. I met Luther Vandross, who was really nice. And sweet. I kissed Luther's ring.
Yeah.
Because to me, Luther Vandross was like the Beatles to me. So getting to meet one of my musical idols was really, really exciting. But I have nothing bad to say about Will Smith. The guy is aces to me, if you ask me.
It depends on how, like you said, how they are to you,
Yep.
Like I met Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's the nicest guy.
I heard he was great, too.
Great guy. I was in at the Olympics. I covered the Olympics in Atlanta. I was there for 13 days.
Wow.
And
that's when they had the bombing.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I had left the day before. And that stage that was bombed was, I sat on that stage.
What was that, 96?
96, yep. I sat on that stage. It was they called it the Coca-Cola Village. That was set up. In fact, I had press passes for everything. One of the passes I had was to get a soda out of the machine. It was the size of $1, and I had it around my neck, and you just slid it in the machine, and you pull it out, and you got a 20-ounce bottle of soda. That's when they just started using bottles.
Wow.
Instead of the cans, they had a 20-ounce bottle of soda.
How time has changed in 28 years, right?
Yeah.
That's when cell phones just really started getting popular back in the mid-90s.
And I was everywhere there. I was with the Homeland Security. I was in a helicopter. I did all kinds. I mean, I had such a ball down there at the Olympics. And it was the next day. It was not even a full day. It was like 18 hours later, the place was bombed. I mean, I was... shocked,
so scary.
Absolutely shocked.
Oh
very
wow.
scary. And to see, and like I said, I was with Homeland Security, I was with the state police, I was all around with them, and I was seeing.
So you were covering it for the show?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great, Bob.
On my own dime. No media, no national media or even local media. I did that all on my own.
Will somebody pay this man? He's going to the Olympics on his own dime. Come on. Somebody cough up Scott for Bob's
Hey,
show.
you know what's funny?
An hour with Bob.
I've been doing this 32 years, and people think, I'm always getting hit up from charities and this and that. Oh, you're on TV, you make a lot of money. I don't get paid. What do you mean I make a lot of money? There's no way. Nobody does what you do for as long as you've done it and doesn't get paid. I said, well, you're looking at the one that does it.
Well, I tell you what, I think you're paid, and this isn't much, but paid with love and admiration and gratitude for what you do, because people love you, Bob, everywhere you go. And what you do for Toys for Tots at Christmas every year, I'm witness to that. It just brings people together. And if there were more people out there like Bob Venturini doing the things that you do, this world would be a better place.
Hey, I started that in the studio in Pawtucket. And 2 years, we outgrew the studio in 2 years. And it was thanks to John Salona, who was a state senator at the time, and he knew Aram Garabedian, and because I was looking for a bigger place, because I had, the second year I did it, I had Patrick Kennedy, who was a U.S. congressman at the time, and I had Jack Reed, a U.S. senator. They were outside waiting to come in. There was just, the line was out down the street to get in the studio. And it was just too big, and it was raining. But and kudos to them, they stayed there and waited and didn't cut the line and waited till they got their turn to come in the studio. We did a 4-hour live on Cox Cable at the time, their channel, Cox 3, Channel 3, for 2 years. And then they wanted me to do a show with them with commercials and all this, and they wanted to dictate my show. And I said, no, that ain't happening. I'll take it on to 13 and 32, and I'll do my own thing.
Wow. So you could have gotten paid, but you chose to keep your own control.
I wanted my own flavor. I hate commercials.
Amen.
I absolutely hate commercials. I tape everything. I don't watch anything live.
Isn't that great to DVR things?
Oh,
fast?
my God.
You can watch a game now in an hour and a half because you just fast forward.
Joe Rock, you talk about Joe Rock. We watch the games on Sundays.
Sorry, Pepsi and all the other companies that we fast forward through the commercials.
Through the commercials.
That's the beauty of DVR these days.
Me and Joe, we watch the football games on Sundays, and the weeks we can't go watch the football games, or sometimes on Monday he'll call me and say, "Did you see that play? Did you see this?" I said, "Not yet, Joe." He goes, "Oh, you haven't got to that point yet." I go, "No." He knows that I don't watch football games live. I tape them, and I might start them a half an hour.
Just don't call me and tell me what the score is.
Oh,
don't go on Facebook, Instagram.
No.
Because people are commenting on the game. The game's from 2 to 4. I'm going to watch it from 5 to 7.
Right.
So before 5 o'clock, do not tell me anything about the Celtics score or whatever.
None of them. None of them. Whatever game's on, I don't want to hear it. Like this thing that just happened with the girl from Iowa.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, she's phenomenal. I didn't realize how tall she was.
Yeah, 6 feet, 6'1".
I saw it. Do you see her?
She's going to change the landscape of WNBA.
She already has.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's crazy that she's going to make $77,000 a year.
Can you imagine?
And Victor Wembanyama
makes that in one game.
Yeah, he makes $55 million. But it's just it's going to change. She's changing the landscape of the
she'll
game.
bring many more people. Well, it's already happened. Indiana game, who she just signed with. For $77,000 a year.
And the whole team showed up, which I've never seen on a draft night of the players from a team show up to welcome their first-round draft pick. I thought that was really
she's their
cool.
money.
Shout out to the Celtics, by the way, who start the playoffs.
That's right.
Best record in the NBA.
Let's hope they don't do.
Let's
hope they don't do what the Bruins did. When they were the best, they had the best record in hockey, and they fell on their face.
It's a whole new season in the playoffs, but I think we're on a mission this year, and our
Hopefully.
team I don't think anybody could take us in a 7-game series. We're too stacked. Now with Porzingis.
Well, that's a good
Holiday.
thing. It's a 7-game series, not a 1-game or a 3-game series.
They're all 7-game series.
Yeah, and even a 5. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So a long schedule like that, it's unlikely that somebody can beat them.
I think so. And you said about Caitlin Clark. I think it was great, the coverage that she got, the people really stepping up and watching women's sports. Not that other WNBA players haven't been great,
right?
But she has people have been focused on her like I've never seen a female basketball player before,
right.
And I think it's great for the WNBA and for women's sports in general. It's good for the NBA too. I mean.
It's amazing how she can shoot from so far out. she's shooting major league three-pointers.
Well, there's been a change in the game, you know, with Trae Young, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry.
Curry
those
changed
guys
it
have
all. I
changed
think
the
Curry
game. I
changed
mean, they shoot from the logo,
Right.
and that's what
Yeah,
she does.
yeah.
I mean, you have to pick her up at half court because she's dangerous
Right.
anywhere.
And then
within-
if you foul her from there, it's a 3-point, three shots.
That's right. Yeah, it's been great. I think that sports and music could really bring this world together because, you know, and I don't get to talk about politics or anything,
Right.
but politics, religion, and business, so far, that hasn't worked with getting the world together.
Right.
I think we need to do something like a huge Live Aid with music and sports for 2, 3, 4 weeks and bring the world together because I think music and sports are
Yep.
much more of a bonding source than business, religion, and politics. And that's just my opinion. I really think sports and music is the answer to bring us together.
Well, you don't have any of these side issues. Like in politics, everybody got their game going on the side. You know, they don't. Well, look at what the Democrats just
Yeah,
did
there's a
with
lot
the
of smoke and
Republicans.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Right.
If the Republicans are for it, the Democrats are against it. If the Democrats are for it, the Republicans are against it. That's not the way it should be.
No.
Automatically they vote party line. There's no deterring from the party line. There's nobody, not one of these politicians, be it Democrat or Republicans, has a mind of their own.
I know, and to me, that's lack of integrity.
Exactly.
You know, stand up for what you believe in, no matter what. It's really what side of the aisle. There shouldn't even be an aisle. We're supposed to be the United States of America, and we're so far from united right now. It's just really hard to sit back and watch. I mean, we're raising kids in this era, and it's like 2024. Can't we get it together?
Talk
Like,
about we
really-
can't get along. Why
Right,
can't we
I
get
mean,
along?
right.
Because they're
I
not
mean,
at all.
It shouldn't matter what religion you are, what skin color you are, what you believe in, whether you're red, blue, black, white, Republican, Democrat. I mean, we all bleed red. Like, let's start from what we have in common.
Right, exactly.
That's just my opinion. And I don't mean to get political. I just think the world needs to come together, or we're not going to make it.
Exactly,
They say,
yeah.
you know, the Christians say that these are the final days. Well, if we keep the path we're going, these are going to be the
These are the
final
final
days.
days.
I think music and sports are the answer. Just my personal
There you
opinion.
go. This reminds me, you know how they say history is, the reason why you study history is to avoid making mistakes.
Repeating the past.
Correct. And they're on their way. This is the second coming of, in my opinion, it's the second coming of the Roman Empire. The fall of the
Amen.
Roman Empire. And that's what's happening to this country.
I just saw it firsthand. I performed on the SS Victoria. Thank you, Cruz Brothers, for this opportunity. I performed on the SS Victoria in Amsterdam.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks ago now. It was great. Now I performed in Italy, I performed in Amsterdam, and to perform
Nice.
on this cruise ship. But to go through Amsterdam and see like what the Nazis did to Rotterdam and parts of
Right.
Europe, it just
And it's still there. There's still, you can still see the damage.
Oh
over
yeah,
there.
and in Amsterdam, there's plaques on the sidewalk of
Yep.
people who were taken and sent to Auschwitz. I went to the Anne Frank house.
Oh, my
And
God.
saw where Anne Frank lived for 2 years, and the
And
poor thing
up in the-
died
up in
4
the-
months before the war ended. Like she was, her and her family were holed up in this house, escaping.
They were in the
Na-
attic, right? Were they in the
Well,
attic or the
house is
cellar? They were-
Crazy. The guy had a bureau against the wall with a crawl space behind it, and then 3 bedrooms upstairs. And I mean, it was amazing. And I mean, it was so sad to see what they endured. But then we went to Belgium, and Belgium, they had this beautiful atomic structure. It's 8 stories high, and it's from the 1958 World's Fair. And they said, you know, this was the last remnant of 1958, and unfortunately, we have to say that was the last year that there was a human zoo in the World's Fair. I was like,
A human
what?
zoo?
They imported people from the Congo and set up an African village so people could observe.
No way.
And it was not 1858, it was 1958.
Wow.
A human zoo
Wow.
in Brussels, Belgium. That blew me away. I'm like, we really have some work to do. But we
Yeah.
can do it, Bob. People like you and people who are involved in making people happy through music,
Like you
literature,
said, yeah.
sports, whatever
Yep,
you're
yep.
into. If you're about positive energy and doing the right thing, this thing can come around. We can turn it around and make this world a better place, because history should not repeat itself.
And it's on its way, though. It's on its way. A place you're talking about, Amsterdam. I've been to Budapest, Hungary, and Debrecen, Hungary, And there were buildings there that are from the 18th century. Obviously,
Yeah.
they've been around a long time. There are bullet holes all over the place, all over the buildings. There's big holes in the. This is in stone buildings. There's giant bullet holes in them.
My wife did a cruise from Budapest to Nuremberg, and it stopped in Nuremberg, and they stayed in the hotel where the people stayed during the Nuremberg Nazi trials.
Wow.
But Budapest was amazing. I didn't
Oh, I love
realize
that.
there's
Buda and Pest. Pest.
And there's
Two different cities.
Public, these mineral baths
Yes,
all over.
yes.
People bathe in Budapest. They work from 7 to 1,
I
and
love
then they
that place.
bathe in the
Yep.
afternoon. 300 public mineral baths, and that's what they do. They don't go to the tennis, they don't play golf, they don't go to the tennis court, they bathe. I did not know that. My wife came back and told me about, and she and her friends did it. It was really wonderful. I mean, there's so much culture and so much wonder in this world.
Yeah.
If we could learn from each other instead of trying to like bring everybody down, it would be a lot better off.
And traveling is the best education. When you can travel and you see, like you did, like you saw in Amsterdam, and I saw in Hungary, and in Russia. I've been to Russia too.
Really?
I've also been to Kazakhstan, which is part of Russia. Kazakhstan is part of. Kazakhstan's its own country. It used to be part of the USSR.
Right.
And it was the first of the countries of the former USSR to break away from Russia, long before all these other
So
satellite
where'd you go to
countries.
Russia? Like Moscow?
I went to
Leningrad?
Moscow, yeah. I was in Moscow on February 2nd, Groundhog Day. It was so damn cold. And Moscow's in Europe, by the way. Everybody thinks it's or not everybody, but a lot of people think it's Asia. Most of Russia is in Asia. But Moscow and St. Petersburg are in Europe.
Right.
But even though it was in Europe, it happened to be very cold there. Well, actually, I think we landed in Moscow. I think it was the end of January 31st or January 30th. We ended up in Kazakhstan, Groundhog Day.
Wow.
And it was 40 degrees below zero in Usk-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan, which is right on the border of Mongolia.
Say that again. Where?
I can say it, but I don't know how to spell it. Usk-Kamenogorsk.
Wow.
And that's the proper way to say it. Usk-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan.
That's
It's
cool,
like
Bob.
on a T. It's right where Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan meet. And I've been a photographer for 40 years.
I knew that.
And I photographed many beautiful women, hundreds, maybe thousands of beautiful women. The most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life was in my company in Usk-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan.
Wow. If you're watching, contact Bob, anhourwithbob.com, and maybe you guys can go on the... Wow, that's great.
Oh yeah, this girl was.
So Groundhog Day, do they celebrate it?
No. I only relate to it because of how cold it was. We went in. We got there and we went into our hotel room. We were going to meet back down in the lobby, and we get to the lobby. We're going to go out to dinner, and they had their cars are like the Fiat. They
Tiny.
sold the same car. They sold the Fiat a design, and it's the same car, but it's called a different thing. And they have linoleum on the floor of the car.
Wow.
Yeah, not mats or carpet.
Wild, huh?
And I walked out. The doors open. I walked out to the car, which is about 20 feet off the steps of the hotel. Didn't even get in the car. My tears came down my face and they froze before they got to my cheek. First of all, I was tearing because it was so cold.
Right.
But the tears came down like this and they were
Freezing on your face.
right on my face. Turned right around, went right back into the hotel.
Wow, what a story that is.
Yeah, that was the craziest place I think I've ever been to.
You hear about the Italian groundhog? They
No.
asked him if he saw his shadow. He said, I didn't see anything. I didn't see nothing.
That's a cute one. I didn't see nothing.
So you've been to Kazakhstan, Russia, Casablanca, Morocco, and have
Yeah.
not been to Italia.
I also been. Yeah, I know. I also been.
Bob,
to,
you're due.
Another place that's really cool is Marrakesh, Morocco. Marrakesh is a wild city.
yeah.
They have one of the oldest, if not the oldest, I call it a flea market in the world. And they got the guys there with the little pipe
snake,
there, and the snake, an actual grand cobra comes out of the basket, the whole 9 yards. Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
And they got guys doing dental work, right in the open marketplace there. Oh yeah.
Open air clinic, dental clinic. Wow.
Guys pulling teeth right there. And then in the closed-in area, these same people have owned these. They pass them down the generations. You want the stores that are covered. You know, they got cover from the weather, right? And I went into this true story. Have you ever seen the series on TV where they go around the world and they go to The Amazing Race?
Oh, sure.
Have you ever seen
Louis
that show?
Travato was on it. My friend Louis
Yes,
Travato.
yes.
He was a finalist.
Louis been on the show. Yeah, Louis was
and
on the
Dave,
show
he
with
and
the other
Mike
guy,
were
with
his
the
partner.
cop. The cop, his partner was from Newport. He was a Newport cop. I had them. I loved the show from the start. I go in this place in Marrakesh, and I end up in this Persian market. They sell these Persian rugs. I mean, they get stacks of them, 5, 6 feet high, tall, and you walk between the rows, right? And they get the big guy with the robes on. They don't wear pants over there. They wear robes, right? And do you know why, by the way?
No.
You don't know why they wear their robes? I don't want to say it on the air. I'll talk to you about it off the air, why they wear robes and don't wear pants.
I'll remind you after the show.
Well, I'm walking between them, and I interview the guy, the head guy in this place, right? And these rugs, millions and millions of dollars worth of these rugs. I call them Persian rugs, but whatever they are, different countries they come from. Well, I come back, I edit a show into a 30-minute Bob's Big Adventure, not to be confused with An Hour with Bob. Some people think it's the same show, and it's not. Bob's Big Adventure is a 30-minute show. An Hour with Bob is An Hour with Bob. And I come home, I edit a bunch of shows, and I put it on TV. One of the days I had was in the morning. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, and that night I watched The Amazing Race. The guy I interviewed was where they had to go get the. Remember how they'd have to go get a clue from somebody? Somebody
Right.
handed
Yeah,
them.
the
They
yellow
go in
card,
this
yeah.
building and they had to go to Marrakesh, Morocco, and they had to go in the big flea market, and they had to go inside the building and into this guy, the rug salesman, and they had to get the clue from this guy. I couldn't believe it was the same guy.
That's
And it was on
unbelievable.
TV the same day as my show.
What are the chances of that?
That was the craziest thing that I've ever experienced.
I have a story similar to that. When I went to the Coliseum, my wife and I, we had this unbelievable tour guide who was so intelligent, spoke perfect English, had never been to the United States. She was going like 4 months later, but she was such a sweet, smart, super intelligent woman and knew everything about the Holy Roman Empire. And she thought the Colosseum was a barbaric place because in 700 years, only like 8 people survived. 8
Really?
gladiators. Oh, yeah.
Oh, the gladiators, they didn't make it.
They also used to fill it with water twice a year. They had a duct system,
Right, yep.
so they could have
Clean it out.
the boat races inside. That's
Wow.
the Romans were unbelievable.
Yeah.
They really were. So she said, when you go up there, she said, if you want to take a picture with the gladiator, it's €2, €2, which at the time was like $7 American.
Right.
But you take a picture with your own camera. But they had real gladiator outfits.
Right.
I mean, authentic leather, beautiful, really nice. So we take the picture with him. He's doing the thumbs up, thumbs down, and afterwards I give him to €1, and he goes, what's this? It's €20. He wanted €20, which was like $38.
Wow.
To take a picture with our own camera. So
I could see if they gave you the outfit to put
so
on.
my wife goes, don't worry about it, we're deleting it. And so he ends up saying, he goes, and he said, in Italian, some words I can't repeat here, and he called me a Napolitan. Like he was looking down at me because he was Roman, and he knew I was a Naples. He didn't think I was American.
Oh.
He just thought I was a Naples Italian, which is below him.
Right.
So then I responded with my own words to him, and I said half of it in Italian and half in Spanish because I didn't know the word for it. And the guide was like, "Don't worry, he knows Spanish too. Good for you." So I left. I said, "I can't believe I just got in a beef with a gladiator
Wow.
at the Coliseum." Fast forward 6 months later. Or not even, maybe a year or two later, we're watching Anything's Possible about the 2008 Celtics, when the Celtics went to Italy before together, and it was like a bonding experience that all of them said, and they came up with that Ubuntu thing, which was an African term for togetherness, but it all happened when they were in Italy. Don't you know they went, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, all of them, Eddie House, taking a picture out in front of the Coliseum with a gladiator. Same guy who told me to go.
How much did he want from them?
I know, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's the same guy. What are the chances? We're watching the Celtics show. They're taking a picture with the same guy that wanted the 20 euro from me.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. What are the chances, right?
It is. You run into things like that every once in a while.
Yep.
Oh, a girl I met this doctor, beautiful girl. I ended up hanging around with her. I was there 2 weeks in Morocco, and we hit it off. Beautiful girl.
Taking pictures?
Well, no, we ended up romantically connected. So I come back to the United States. A few months later, I get a phone call. No, she's a doctor in Rabat, Morocco, the capital. I never think, we communicate a little bit, but that ain't going nowhere. She's from another country, the other side of the world.
Yep.
Not quite the other side of the world, the other side of the Atlantic. So I get a phone call. It's her. Hi, Bob, how you doing? I said, oh, hi, nice to hear from you. She goes, you'll never believe it. She says, guess where I am? I said, where? She goes, I'm in Boston. I go, you are? She goes, and I've already checked it out, because she knew my address, because she had been sending me letters. She goes, I see I'm only an hour away. I can be down there in an hour. I said, well, I got a problem with that. She goes, don't tell me you're married. I go, no. She says, what's the problem? I says, I'm in Big Bear, California. I was doing a Bob's Big Adventure in Big Bear, California.
You blew your big chance.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I said, how long you going to be here? She says, I'm going to be here a couple of weeks. I said, well, I'll be back in 2 days. And I flew back 2 days later, and I spent a week and a half with her.
There you go, Bob.
That girl, and I totally blew that, because she wanted to stay. She wanted to.
And she was a doctor in Morocco, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you meet her?
Out and about with these people. I met with these people that I
She
ended up.
spoke English, obviously, right?
Yeah. People I end up chumming around with over there. I call them the Arab mob. They were like the mob. And I noticed it. I didn't realize it at first, but when we went to Marrakesh, pickpockets are everywhere. And some kid, I'm walking around with these guys, they're all in suits, I'm walking around with them.
They warn you about that in Amsterdam and Belgium, too. Put your money in your...
This kid reached in my back pocket. Well, I don't keep anything in my back pocket anyway, but other than a handkerchief, which nobody carries anymore. And if I got money, it's in my front pocket. Well, he put his hand in my back pocket. Big mistake, as it turns out. I didn't realize it. They jumped on him like there was no tomorrow. They threw him to the ground, and I had to stop them from beating him. And at that point, I realized, this is like the mob. These guys are like the mob, these people that I was being hanging around with. I didn't even realize it at the time.
You know, you realize in some of the countries you go to that the mob, the police, and the army are all one
together.
And the same. They're all the same guys. Like
I'll show you a picture. In fact, I wanted to show pictures today, but we never got to it because it's been too interesting. But I have a picture of me with two special forces of the Hungarian police. These guys, big, muscular guys, they were my protection.
This was
when
in
I was over there.
Budapest?
This was in Budapest.
Wow.
And there's a picture of them with guns, both have one gun on each side of me, 45s, automatic, semi-automatics to my head, like this, on either side of my each cheek. But I personally cleared their gun first. I emptied the clip, I put the clip aside, and I emptied the chamber. Man. I handed them the gun. I did the same with this guy.
Do you have that picture?
I do. I'll show it to you off camera because it'll take me 5 minutes to find it. Yeah, I had several pictures with those guys. But it was interesting places. And I had an interesting thing, and I'll talk to you off camera. In Russia, they have 2 levels of subway, and you cannot see the end of the level, the lower level. It is so far from the earth, from the surface. So if they ever had a bomb, you would never hit them, and especially in Moscow. It is so deep. And I'm down there, and I'm standing on the tracks, and I'm with a whole bunch of fighters that I was with, these kickboxers and fighters, and I see this absolutely beautiful woman standing by herself with a fur jacket on. I guess I got to wrap it up. Well, folks, thank you for spending an hour with Terry and Bob. Until next time, see you. Got another good show next week, too. Until then, see you.